Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, this is for my brothers and sisters in the great state of Illinois. That's right, we can call you the great state again because you are enjoying more personal freedoms this week than you enjoyed last week, thanks to the savior of a judge who granted a statewide injunction on your assault weapon ban. Now, I'm doing this video because we really do need to celebrate the few good moments that we get to talk about here at Washington Gun Law. But I also want some of my other viewers around the country, including all of those here in the hometown crowd, to understand how important these injunctions are and what a glorious moment they can actually be. So today we're actually going to go straight out to Illinois and figure out what is really happening. We're going to talk to the owner of Illinois' largest gun store, figure out what Freedom Week is really like out there. So today, let's spend a few minutes and talk about, do you hear that? That's the sound of freedom in Illinois. Okay, so the topic we're talking about is Illinois' now enjoined assault weapon ban. We covered the injunction right here on this video. This stopped the enforcement of Illinois' atrocious assault weapon ban. It's atrocious beyond the obvious reasons because it went from an innocuous piece of insurance legislation to a fully enacted assault weapon ban in less than 72 hours with no public comment, no notice or anything. Of course, that left many folks in Illinois unable to prepare for the pending legislation. Quite the opposite experience of what we experienced here in Washington State, because somebody was out there way back in December saying, hey, if you want to stock up, you might want to think about doing it right now because I think there's an assault weapon ban coming. Well, the folks in Illinois did not get that experience. Instead, they just woke up one day to find out their guns had been taken. Now, fast forward to where we sit today, suddenly this law has been enjoined, and has it created a huge rush on the sales of these types of firearms? Has it created a Freedom Week in Illinois? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go out, we're going to talk to Nicole. She's one of the managers at GAT Guns out in East Dundee, Illinois. It is the Midwest's largest gun store. So let's head out there right now. Let's talk to Nicole and let's see what's really happening on the ground in Illinois. Okay, hey everyone, we are joined by Nicole at GAT Guns out in East Dundee, Illinois, which is just kind of west of Chicago. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us on Washington Gun Law. Tell us a little bit about GAT Guns.
Thank you so much for having us. We are the largest privately owned firearm dealer in the Midwest. We like to consider ourselves a firearm destination with 63 shooting lanes, tactical training, all kinds of classes, 6,000 firearms in stock at any given time. So we've been in business for almost 50 years, and we are here to stay and here to play.
And you've been in that location, I understand, since the late 80s. And for those of you who want to, what's your website? Where can people find you on the internet?
www.gatguns.com.
So yeah, listen, my viewers need to check it out. This looks like a fantastic facility. Next time I get out to Illinois, I want to stop by and pay you a visit.
We would love to have you.
Nicole, what I want to talk to you about is this newly found sense of freedom that everyone in Illinois has. As we know, there was an injunction issued earlier this week by a federal judge, which basically enjoined Illinois' assault weapon ban from being enforced right now. Now, prior to getting onto the recording with you, I found out that you and your company were named plaintiffs in a previous lawsuit. Tell the viewers about that a little bit.
So when the Illinois gun ban happened in January, obviously we consider it the unconstitutional Illinois gun ban. There is a lawyer in Southern Illinois. His name is Tom DeVore, and he had created a lawsuit with plaintiffs attached to it, where it was an equal protection under the law case, and it was being put through state court. And
Yeah, well, so he ended up, this attorney who we again, and for those of you especially out on Twitter that have been following this stuff in Illinois, Tom is a fantastic warrior for Second Amendment rights and is keeping people all up to speed on that. You guys actually got an injunction quite some time ago, and so GAT Guns has been in a position where you could sell these types of firearms, but you were in a very, very elite fraternity of people. Is that right?
That's correct. So we were issued TROs, and it was some firearm dealers in the state of Illinois and then some individuals, and it's to the tune of about 7,000 individuals in Illinois.
Okay, so for a period of time, you could sell these weapons and components and all that, but you can only sell it to one of those 7,000 people who are named plaintiffs. That's it, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And then law enforcement and military, etc.
Okay. But then along comes this new injunction from the federal court, and suddenly the floodgates have opened because everybody in the state of Illinois now gets to enjoy a sense of freedom. Is that right?
That's correct. Friday at about 4 p.m.
Okay. So let's talk about what happened at GAT Guns about Friday at 4 p.m. and what's been going on since then. So tell my viewers, especially out here in Washington, where we may be going through something real similar in the next several weeks. Tell me about what you guys have experienced as a company there.
Friday at 4 p.m., we got a call from a customer. Ironically, did you hear the news? We researched it immediately. We found out immediately that we were free to sell. So at that point, the phone call started, the sales started, the parking lot was full within an hour. And we were, just almost back to COVID times when we were lines out the door, lines down the block. So that was Friday. And then it steamrolled into Saturday. Word got out. We opened at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. Word got out. It was, to the tune of thousands of phone calls, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And we've had to shut down firearm sales and pickups every single day since Friday at a reasonable time, so our staff isn't here all night.
Wow.
We learned that during COVID. Otherwise, our staff would be here till midnight or 1 a.m.
You guys, if the state law allowed you could go 24/7 right now selling firearms.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, one of the other things is, and I want all my viewers to understand this, is that this isn't just a bunch of right-wing white male nut jobs coming in and buying their, scary assault weapons to add to their large arsenal already. You were telling me that you were seeing a lot of first-time gun buyers, a lot of people dipping their toes into the water on this particular type of firearm for the mere reason that, well, the state government's talking about saying you don't have the right to get them. Tell my viewers about that experience.
So, AR, obviously the very popular modern sporting rifle. We are familiar with it. You are familiar with it.
Right.
But the general public sees it and hears about it and says, oh, that might be scary. But then when you take it away, they want it. Mm-hmm. So that's what we've sold. And we have walls of firearms here. Our entire AR wall is empty. And it's every single person has come in and they're buying it. It doesn't matter, sex, race, it doesn't matter. Everyone wants it. Doesn't matter economic class. And because ARs, as you know, are from every dollar amount from, right. $500
budget models to high-end models, and yet it still deals with the proficiency of the shooter that really determines Correct. The effectiveness of the weapon.
Correct. So okay. There will be thousands and thousands of new ARs out on the streets now. Not on the streets, but
now, as we know, Kwame Raoul and your illustrious governor immediately pissed their pants after this injunction, and they're trying to stampede this thing up to the 7th Circuit. We also know that the city of Naperville has a lawsuit that's related to this topic as well, and the 7th Circuit has become involved in that one, and now Justice Comey Barrett has become involved in that as well. What are you hearing from your attorneys as far as how long this freedom can last until another court may revisit this injunction that you're currently living under?
Well, I actually reached out to Tom DeVore on Sunday morning and just with a quick email, since we are a plaintiff in this case, we were very lucky to be able to quickly, send him an email and ask him a question.
Very lucky to have him as a lawyer too, by the way.
He's very responsive and he's very knowledgeable. So he shot me back an email a couple hours later on a Sunday, no less. And he said he was guesstimating about a week.
About a week.
So we're actually a little bit further along through that than I thought we would be. It just depends on how long Judge McGlynn's going to take to rule on the stay request that went in on Friday.
Okay, now here's an interesting question, and we ran into this in Washington. You educated me before we started recording this that there's a 72-hour waiting period, whether they're buying a fully completed semi-automatic rifle or if they're buying a lower receiver. 72 hours. Okay.
Right.
If a person were to come in and do all the paperwork today, but that 72 hours does not come until that injunction is lifted, is GAT Guns able to make the transfer at that point, or do you go back under the Iron Curtain at that point?
So we don't know what that stay will sound like. When the state put the ban in place, they gave a grace period to allow delivery of any firearm that had a background check on it.
Okay.
If this stay puts in place, we don't know. It could be as fast as no and never, and that's it. Or they could give a grace period and allow some completed transactions. We don't know.
And if they were at all even mildly consistent, just again for the Illinois viewers, if you have your paperwork in and you're just waiting for the background check to come back and the waiting period to occur, if the state's consistent in its application, those people should be in the safe, right?
In January, they allowed those transactions to be completed. Okay. And that is serial number on a 4473, background check run, and that's what they considered in process.
Okay. But the bottom line is this, is if you're living in Illinois and you've ever thought about maybe dipping your toes into the waters here, this is absolutely the time to do it. And the time to do it is right this very second. Would you agree with that?
I would. And it's not, obviously, as we know, it's not just rifles. It's, it's high capacity pistols, which they consider anything above 15 rounds. Mm-hmm. It's high capacity magazines. It's shotguns over, certain rounds. It's
tactical semi-automatic shotguns as well. Mm-hmm.
Basically, the word semi-automatic is not, they're not favorable. They don't look favorably on that.
Right. Well, that's what happens when gun laws are written by people who know nothing about guns. So
correct.
Okay. Hey, listen, Nicole, I want to thank you for spending time. I know you're busy. You're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. One more time for my viewers, tell us a little bit about GAT Guns, how the people in Illinois can get a hold of you, your hours of operation and all that, where you're located. Tell my viewers one more time.
Awesome. GAT Guns. We are the premier firearm destination in the Midwest. We are at 970 Dundee Avenue in East Dundee. And our phone number is 847-428-4867. And it's gatguns.com.
Nicole,
we're open 7 days a week.
Nicole, thank you so much for your time. Please enjoy your freedoms. Promise me we'll keep in touch.
Absolutely.
And promise me next time I'm out in Illinois, I get to stop by and say hi to all you guys.
We would love to have you.
All right. Thanks so much, and you stay safe.
Thank you so much.
So as you can see, freedom does exist again in Illinois to some degree, and the folks of Illinois are in fact enjoying that freedom. Interesting to note, though, however, that Nicole pointed out, is that the individuals who are rushing into the store to buy this platform of firearm, well, they're not the ones that the gun grabbers always want to label. No, these are people who candidly, but for the state talking about taking these guns from them, probably wouldn't even be interested in purchasing the guns. That's why the gun salesmen of the year are often those on the gun grabbing left. Listen, you may have more questions about what's happening in Illinois or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights. If you do, you should know how to contact Washington Gun Law by now. But if you don't, go ahead and check out the description box down below. We'll also put all of the information for GAT Guns down there. Thanks again to them for joining us for this video. In the meantime, though, I do want all of you to remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.